What's going on? Move the Mouse back again in Rockdale 2.0, and I actually just turned on a couple mods for the first time in a while, and one of them you can see in action right here, and that's Network Extensions 2. Gives you some additional road options, so where we were kind of using, for the most part, the vanilla road, so a 4-lane road here, we have all this traffic coming off the highway. So I wanted to give them some more options for how to turn when they get to this dead end down here. Now, eventually we will, and maybe soon, kind of expand this out. Have another highway exit over here, I think makes sense to support all this area. But for those of you that are bored with the grid, the good news is we are kind of starting to get away from that in, I think, today's episode. I'm not going to really come down here just yet. This is still something I'm planning. We're going to have kind of one more piece like this, and maybe one more where this will kind of be a little bit symmetrical. I don't know. But we've got this massive central park in here, and I've just put some real basic circular paths in that, just kind of connecting everything through plazas and little service buildings and things like that. So I don't even know how it's doing. Let me get out of this view. It's already 5 stars? How is that? Have I had that many visitors already? Holy cow, all right. Apparently we made a very popular park. Well, that was easy. So the reason that I didn't record the build of this is because I literally just wanted to get a park to help increase land value and interest in the immediate area and kind of see what this would ultimately look like. But we're going to make much more organic paths, not just this, you know, circle with a crosshair. You know, it's not bad. It does the trick. There's ways for people to kind of get in there and use it. Right now, they're maybe not using it that much because there's not a huge build over here, but we'll get there. What I wanted to do was maybe start creeping up more towards the hills, because this looks like where we can start to break into some lower density, but I think we need to kind of do some terraforming and flatten out some spots up here and decide kind of what we're going to do. So let's get a little creative with that. Let's break out the terraforming tool. I will probably just time lapse this because I'm just gonna tweak and mess around with this for a little while. But I'm gonna, you know, flatten out some little areas. I already did a little bit of that initially when I first was going around the map, I think, or maybe I just marked these districts because they were little, you know, kind of flat areas like that. But I'm gonna do a little terraforming, and I'm gonna make us some space over here to start today, where we can get into, you know, the smaller suburbs, the lower density residential that's kind of on the outskirts of this. I don't know what's going on with the garbage problems, but one of the other things we can do is maybe do a little another city service area over here, because the trucks are not getting out, and I don't know what's happening. Because check this out. Actually, I do. It's traffic. We haven't really looked at traffic. So maybe 2 things today. We'll start to frame out a basic suburb. 65 of 125 trucks in use. Get on it. That's at 150 budget also, I believe. Garbage cranked all the way up day and night, so who knows what's going on there. But hey, there's a 1% tax, so you might have to wait for your garbage pickup every once in a while. Not bad for 1% tax. So let's come out here. Let's come out here and kind of figure this out. So I'd like to have a little flat spot here for the roundabout. So let's go into... I forgot that using network skins and network extensions makes your landscaping tool hang. I forgot about that. I haven't used it in a while. I've actually been just kind of dealing with vanilla and DLC roads. So I just want to have a little space down here to work with. We'll dump kind of a roundabout right here, and that could feed traffic into this zone, up into that hill, and over into what's kind of labeled Sycamore Square over there. But let's make space for that first. All right, so this is where I'm going to kind of draw a line in the sand and really start to build things down. So we'll see if upgraded low density is just too abrupt of a change, but there's 2 things that I'm going to do here. One is give commercial a little bit of a drop. So start to use the lower density commercial over here. And also we can pad the area out with just a little bit of trees. Actually, you know what? We can build right to the mall edge there. Yeah, that's the mall. It looks very popular based on the parking lot. So let's get some trees in here just to kind of get a sense. So I didn't zone on this side of the street. Now it's going to look like a very abrupt change coming from here to right across the street with all the the apartments. But keep in mind, this is also going to look very small next to the larger non-high-rise band and financial center downtown, plus some of the uniques that we're going to put in. So we're going to have, you know, a massive city center here, which is going to make this all look much more in place and make this less abrupt drop off. But you know, as we get further and further, we're going to have kind of these lines that we have to draw in the sand. And you know, this road right here is a good defining point, an old road where maybe just wasn't zoned up this side of the town, or the zoning wasn't changed since it was, you know, originally built, or it was never planned for high density. And that's also why we start to get in these slightly curvier roads and dead-end streets, maybe less pedestrian paths over here. But that is kind of how we'll start to feather things off. If I have to go in and look and create kind of a custom large house, we could do that. But for right now, this is not a district. We could make it a district, but the bottom line is we removed it from the other ones so that we're not restricted by that high-rise ban anymore. Specifically because we want buildings to level up all the way. And they'll change their appearance, and some of them will grow. Some of these will be very small, but hopefully that, you know, is enough of a drop-off kind of where we start building out here in the outskirts. We'll start to use more of the lower density as that option crops up for us. So we'll go ahead and do commercial along this main road also. Oh, actually, you know what? Nope. I didn't finish that highway piece there. So let me just do that real quick. And then I think what we need to do today is not try and talk and build roads, apparently. So that's a mess. We want the 2 lanes. Or I want the 2 lanes. So we will go to upgrade. See if we can fix this a little bit and move it, because that's not good. So that looks a little bit better right off the bat. It's on the border though of just being completely unrecognizable. It's a long path of road that doesn't have any markers, but I'm okay with that. We can tweak that down the road. This is a little abrupt, it seems, right here. So what if we drop that down a little bit? I mean, this is also still going to be abrupt then, but maybe we smooth that slope out a little bit more up that hill. Do some terraforming there. But this gets us a new exit off the highway for what will be the start of our, you know, residential suburbs up on the hill, where, you know, things aren't so flat. It's not as easy to build. It's much easier to get smaller neighborhoods and zones in than it is to try and stamp out grids like that. So we'll maybe have a little sector over here somewhere that might be industrial or something a little different on this side, but we'll really start, I think, to focus on some of the smaller stuff. So before we do that, maybe there's something we could get. What do we got? What are the smaller objects we have? This is actually definitely something that I wanted to incorporate, were these smaller churches. Will you let me move it? Oh, it's because I'm in move it. Here, I'll just move it the old-fashioned way so it snaps to the grid. We'll come over here. Let's see. I think that kind of makes sense. We could always kind of drop this back into its own lot later if we wanted, but it would probably be around kind of a central artery in all actuality. So that's not a bad spot for it for now. We'll leave that just a little decoration. Let's check our police and fire before we go too far. Looks like we've got police and fire right there, actually. Police, fire, that means healthcare shouldn't be far. What about cemetery? Yeah, that's right there too. Okay, so we're in pretty good shape there. Let's see education-wise how everybody's doing. We should probably... Let's throw one of the other elementaries, mix it up a little bit, right about there. I have Anarchy on. Let's do that. So we've got hopefully a greener network of elementary coverage over here. Yeah, that didn't do a whole lot, huh? Should be enough though. We're well into the green, and it's accessible enough. Does it change that much if we put it? Yeah, it does. Let's put it there. That should cover our neighborhood a lot better. And then we could also do, I think, a default high school. Have we done these, or have I only dropped in those massive high schools? We'll come back in for some variety later on and work on some campuses and fill some stuff out. Let's throw this one there, since that has a bigger footprint. So let's see, who's not getting an elementary education? That's kind of weird. Can we go into that view and then click on the schools? So not at capacity. Just making sure none of these are actually maxed out in terms of students, because we don't want that. No, they're all running pretty good. They're all running about 600 capacity, so they've all got some room. It's just availability based more than anything. I mean, they're in the green. They should have easy access to a school. I'm not sure what the problem is, but hopefully it's not traffic related. High school, again, we're in pretty good shape, I think. Maybe this is all people that moved in recently. I don't know. I've got to keep better track of who I'm adding in. No, I guess that's not... No, that's Sunnyside, so... Not sure what's going on over here. A lot of garbage complaints and problems. Let's pollute a little and put some of the recycling plants back in. I've had problems, consistent problems with the ultimate recycling plant, and it's nice because, like, I don't feel like, you know, I should need 75 recycling plants, but you kind of do, unfortunately. Maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit. What can you do? All right, so there's a couple things that I wanted to mess around with. I'm going to start messing around with network skins more, and I actually did want to talk about that. I could install the no abandonment mod, and just because traffic looks terrible, and we're not troubleshooting it right this minute. So here's a conundrum, right? You got a 4-lane intersection. We don't have, looks like, the traffic lights on. Let's just throw them on, because I think it's only going to help it flow better. Did I not? I asked these to yield. That's kind of an odd choice, because that's coming off the highway. That's terrible, terrible choice. Let's give priority to them and have everybody else yield, especially since nobody's coming from across the street anyways. But that's going to cause all kinds of backup over here, which is where all of our garbage trucks are. So I take it back. Let's delete this, and let's troubleshoot it later. We'll put a good old-fashioned traffic light in there. All right, so what is it? Control P? Control Shift P? Okay. There we go. Problem solved. Ignore the numbers over the top. It's not important. It's not important. So we won't get working on this today, but I did want to talk about some of these traffic problems. So kind of look at what's happening here, right? And especially if we continue these roads out, and assume there's traffic coming from the other way. You've got all this traffic that you really want to get off the highway. We're not as concerned about the traffic coming back in, though. If it is garbage trucks trying to turn into this part of the city, I am a little concerned with it right now. Looks like they're going straight, so I also had a little bit of lag there. Sorry for the camera jump. But you run into these problems where we have all these cars lining up to go straight, left, or right. They're not going straight again because there's nothing built out there yet. But the 4-lane road kind of falls apart there. Lots of pedestrians backing up onto my highway. Now this is what I did on the other side. This is one of the network skins road. I'm sorry, network extensions 2. And essentially what this is it's an asymmetric road that gets rid of the median and has traffic flowing that way in a one-way road so that you have, and we could traffic manage this, a straight lane, a left lane, and a right lane, where you don't need to support as much traffic coming in this way, right? So that's and it gives us this nice look. The other thing is, depending on how you draw the road, if we go back into the road, so at least with this road, the 5-lane asymmetric road, the way that you're dragging it is where the traffic is going to have that extra lane. You can reverse direction on that though. If you use the same tool, it just will reverse the direction of that lane. So we can start it kind of wherever we want. We can start it further back. We could even start it all the way back here, if we wanted to, right? Wait, why can we not upgrade? Do I have the same type selected? No. There we go. Okay, so that worked. So that didn't change any of our zoning around at all, and it lets a lot more traffic line up in here to get off the highway. Now, we still have the problem of processing it at this intersection, which we haven't really troubleshooted yet. But one of the things I think we can do to alleviate some of the traffic, at least in the short term, is Metro 1.0 and Rockdale 2.0. So just to get some of the traffic off our roads and help our city breathe a little bit better so that we're not dealing with all this, I really should consider the no abandonment mod. Because until I get all this stuff in place, I'm definitely building the city out way too fast and not solving the problems because why, right? There's no money on the line here. I understand it's a different approach for my channel too, right? Normally my favorite way to play the game is with none of the cheats, none of the mods. Well, I like the mods on PC, but I like to build up the money and make the city work. And I'm still trying to do that here, but I'm also ignoring a lot of the problems that would ultimately sink a city, and certainly cause some serious hurting in the bank account. So bringing up the Metro reminds me that I do want to at some point mess around with the Metro overhaul mod, and I did turn it on, but I'm not really going to explore that right now. This is really just a 1.0 to get some people moving around the city. So we're going to drop a couple kind of along this main avenue because this is ultimately where a lot of the people are going to be driving and hopefully walking. This is where they were going to be going anyways, so if there's a metro stop along the way, hopefully it will improve our chances of them not getting to some of those other intersections. All right, so for right now, I'm just going to do these. Whoops. For right now, I'm going to complete this tunnel, and I'm going to set up just these two basic lines, so one on either side of the city, to hopefully move some people up and down. This is not ultimately what we're going to leave the routes at. Some of these stops probably will stay because they're on major avenues and it makes sense to have them nearby. But what I think we might do is kind of bring everything into some sort of central hub. Maybe on this block right here, we'll carve out, you know, a big area for train stations and stuff. And we'll kind of bring that all to a head right here. Maybe we'll have something that kind of runs along the highway up the middle, because we do have all those pedestrian paths and stuff that cut under. So there's nothing to stop the people from getting to those places. Like they don't seem to mind to walk. But over here is where our real traffic jam is. So hopefully having those lines will move some people around, but only time will tell. But we can keep an eye on it for a minute here. So let me just throw it on 3x speed and let it play for a few in-game weeks. And actually, maybe I'll poke around at some of these other. Oh, okay. Well, that wasn't actually that bad. That could have been a lot worse. But I think I'm pretty sure it was Kung Fu said how long until. Well, we kind of missed it, but. Where's the disaster? What is it? Disaster response? This one? Let's do this. So that way we can rebuild stuff. Sure. We'll put it right next to the biggest fire risk. They can fly out and tell us how bad things are. Once they search that, we'll be able to rebuild that with just a click instead of going into the menu, figuring out which one it was. Which one was it? Restrooms, cafe, and info booth. I guess I think you can click on the rubble and it would tell you. So those trees will grow back in. Be nice if we could plant them faster, but unfortunately, it remembers the burn state of the trees. Maybe there's a mod or something to turn that off. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. Let's take a look back at that cinematic we set up in the very first episode. We'll load. Let's change our time of day a little bit. I think, let's see sunrise. So when the sun's coming up, here we'll make it just about to become sunrise, and then we'll throw the day-night on, I guess, normal speed. So that's looking pretty good. I like the way the lights look. I like the way it looks in the sun. I know sometimes we tend to see it in really flat midday light because it's easiest to see things, but it's kind of nice to see how the city ultimately will look, say in the middle of the night. Or it's definitely got a good look to it, I think. I don't know. I'm biased. So let's see how our little residential area is doing. Not so hot over here. Or I shouldn't say that. That's a terrible choice of phrase. Isn't there a firehouse right there? Why are all these... Are these not covered by any services? Because people can't get over here? Let's not zone this first block. And let's do that before people move in. Well, before anybody else moves in. Sorry, buddy. So we'll kind of keep an eye on things. Certainly, I got a lot to go through today, but the big thing is I think, you know, we'll figure out how abrupt this step down is, and if we have to do things like, you know, turn this into a park, you know, have this kind of park surrounding this area. Maybe this does become our large downtown area, and we rework it. I don't know, but I think it's okay to kind of carry that down this way. Step it down out towards the sides. We'll have, you know, other little areas and lots of different things we can work on, but we will definitely continue seeing what this looks like as we quickly move into the suburbs. I've got a lot of 3-decker houses that I use in the Portsmouth series, which you see a ton of around New England. So those are actually a little bit bigger and kind of blur the ground between, actually, is that one right there? Kind of like this, right? They blur the ground a little bit more between the apartments and, you know, a little single-family home. So we'll see what it looks like. Some of these are just, you know, the scale of these is too small. I don't know if you saw the size of the car, but, you know, look at the size of that's a tiny house. That is a huge pool for a tiny house. Do you have a pool that's the size of my house? No? Do you have one that's bigger? Okay, I'll take that one. Cinematic camera, play us out. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Rockdale's a little different. Rockdale's a little crazy. It's all over the place. Just talking about different theories and steps in building this city, kind of what I'm thinking about, what I'm replanning along the way. I really like how it's coming so far, but let me know if you remember Rockdale 1. What do you want to see reimagined or reinvented? If this is new to you, then hey, let me know what you want to see. It is a very grid-based central modern city center that we're building, but it's all going to start to fall apart very fast and become suburbs and industrial and cargo, and we need to find a spot for that casino at some point. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, likes, comments, and shares all help the channel a lot and are greatly appreciated. If you're new here, subscribe for more and consider hitting the bell to get notifications for updates in this and other series. Tune back in on Mondays and Fridays for a Let's Play that's going on right now, a console-based campus city build called Grand Lakes. Follow me on Twitter and join the Discord if you want to get involved in the discussion. But until the next one, this is Move the Mouse, signing off.